Restore Britain's energy policy has come out, right? So I'm sitting there thinking, this is going to be fun, right? So I don't know if you know what my pet hate is, or one of my pet. I've got lots of pet hates, but one of them, believe it or not, is potholes, especially as a motorcyclist, right? And then they're charging us. I'm not driving a motorcycle anymore. I think I'm getting too old to hit potholes at 60 mile an hour, right? And come off because you ain't going to survive it. Yet they're charging you for road tax and charging you for this and charging you when your vehicle, in effect, your motorcycle, is causing the least amount of damage to the roads, right? But then what they did, and I'm going to give you a comparison to this as well, because I think it's really important to understand. Anyone, listen, don't be embarrassed. Anyone got an electric vehicle out there in the chat? Because I'm about to give you a quick demonstration on physics, right? And I'm trying to, the only reason I'm doing this is because I really do want people to understand what I'm saying. I was actually going to show you and put more detail into that. I've got a book here about elections. That's 300 years old, original, right? But I'm going to show you something. Someone got an electric. They're going to like this one, right? I'm going to show you why I think you should be paying £5,000 a year in tax, right? So what I'm drawing you is the. I'm drawing on the screen that, right? Now that's really a little bit bigger than a postcard, right? Imagine that, right? That's the actual vehicle. So that's the electric vehicle. The average weight of an electric vehicle, right? Average weight is 2.5 tons. Slightly larger ones, the SVUs or whatever they're called, you know, like the bigger four-wheel drive ones are like 3.5 ton, right? So for those of you that don't understand what I'm talking about in tonnage, and I will get to the point in a couple of minutes, imagine that these weights are the equivalent of putting a 3.5 ton Luton van. You know, them big Luton vans you see running around fully loaded, or a truck with the sides on it, and it's a builder's van. It's fully loaded to 3.5 ton. Putting an EV on the road is the equivalent to that weight. So imagine all of that increased traffic. But what you have here, right, that point there, is something called point pressure, right? And point pressure, it's a bit like me. You know what pressure points are, don't you? If there's a nerve on your neck and I touch it with my thumb, it will cause you a lot of pain, right? It's called point pressure, and if you push on it, it'll alert you more. I can push in many places, but if I was to target that area, right? So what you've got to understand is the resurfacing and the building of roads was designed, and there's a funny part of this story at the end if you really want me to make you laugh about it. Our roads were built for, on average, for 1.5 ton vehicles. It's why when you go out into the country, you'll see little signs up and says low weight bridge, 3.5 ton, nothing over 7 tons, nothing over 3.5 tons, etc., etc. But if it keeps getting hit at quite high speed by 2.5 ton and 3 ton, but what is point pressure? Right, point pressure is this part of the tyre or tyres, right? Just that little part. All of the weight of the vehicle is on them, right? And bearing in mind, when they brought in electric vehicles, they told everyone, right? There's the tyre marks. They told everyone, and this is only a tiny part of the tyre that touches the ground. That's why I'm talking about point pressure. If I was to take in a 500 ton mobile crane onto a site, right, and I'm the supervisor, and then there's one point above that. But on the crane supervisor, I want to see the inspection that when we put the outriggers out of that 500-ton crane, so the outriggers come out, right? Everyone should understand that. Hang on a minute, let me go back to my FaceTime camera. Right, let me go back to that one. For some strange reason, I'm not on the screen, but I don't know why I'm not on the screen. But anyway, forget that. If I put them outriggers out, we have to test and we have to do a ground survey to make sure there's nothing underneath it. There's no sewers underneath it. There's no this underneath it. That the ground, we do a pressure test on the ground to make sure that the ground is solid underneath that crane. Because if we pick that weight up and we start to turn that crane, right, and any part of that soil gives way, the whole fucking crane goes over with whatever it's carrying as well, right? It's highly dangerous and you have to do it, right? You have to have a look at it. So point pressure, that's almost similar to a mobile crane and then putting out its outriggers, but that's the weight. So each one of them new EVs is carrying 2.5 to 3.5 ton. The average normal car, right, is 1.5 ton or less. All right, that's the thing that you've got to understand. The average car, yeah, that's what our roads have been designed to take. But then the government, in their ultimate wisdom, said, let's bring these. Does everyone understand that there's been like multi-story car parks throughout the world that have collapsed with loads and loads of EVs parked in them, right? And it's because the multi-story car park wasn't designed for that load, right? You're putting so much pressure, it's just going to collapse, right? Well, our roads are the same because what our roads have got, they've got. The actual road is made like that, and that's the solid part of the road. But on the top of the road, that part there, that's almost a dressing, right? So when they say they're resurfacing a road, they're not doing the underlining road. They're putting a new part of resurfacing on. But when that point pressure comes down on there, and it's at serious tonnage, which is 2.5 to 3.5 ton, and the increase of that, especially in country lanes, all right, and everywhere else. But here's the kicker. I said to you about point pressure. When you turn, so this is the bit, it sounds complex, but it's not. It's really easy, right? If I was to increase the point pressure of 2.5 ton, right, or 3.5 ton, right, on each tyre is like that, right? If you're going at 10 miles an hour, right, 10 miles an hour, the point pressure increases from 3.5 ton to, let's say, and I'm not giving you the exact figures here, to 10 ton, right? If you're doing 20 mile an hour, it increases to 20 ton. If you're doing 30 mile an hour, it increases to 30 ton. Imagine what it's like on a country lane at 60 mile an hour. And now you understand why they've started to say we need to decrease the speed limits, right? Because they know they fucked up in a big way. Not only have they fucked up the design and implemented this, these people were paying no road tax, right? No road tax. They might have just put it on now. I'm not interested in that. I'm saying to introduce these vehicles, no road tax. So everyone is saying this is great for the environment, but now we've destroyed our roads. We now have to resurface much, much more. We're sending out other vehicles and diesel lorries and creating queues of traffic with puffs of smoke everywhere because these people introduced this level, right? This level of tonnage onto a road system it wasn't designed for. This is what you call thick as shit, right? Because when you look at the point pressure, now what I'm going to do is get into a bend, right? So there's a small bend going that way, a small bend going that way. Every time you turn that steering and you're pushing, so you're now doing 30 mile an hour on that bend. You're also turning, you're increasing, even at 30 mile an hour, you're saying 30 ton, right? You're now increasing that by whatever the percentage is. That's the way it works. So you're now, in every bend, you have now increased it by 50 tons. That's what I'm trying to get over to you, is why they're destroying the roads. And yet they're telling everyone what a wonderful thing it is. And I'm looking at them thinking, you're destroying the roads, right? And yet these people with EVs are for some reason think it's better, and then they turn around to you and say, oh yeah, but it costs in with the price of fuel. So what they do then, they make the price of fuel go up, right? And in the end, oh right, I did say to you, I will tell you something funny, which is what I'm going to do now. Mind you, you may not think it's that funny. Believe it or not, the old cobbled lanes and the way that we used to build country lanes and cobbled streets in our cities were much. They was actually better than what we've got now. So the cobbled streets were laid in a different way and took the tonnage, because you often had 2 or a 3/4 of a ton to a 1 ton horse that side, a 1 ton. Say if you got a buggy or a device, you know, you're pulling a large cart or whatever it is that you're pulling, an old bus laden with 20 people on it, right? It's a bit of serious weight, right? Our old system was much more capable of handling that. And then what did we do? We went and took it all out. Here's the kicker, right? And when I was 18 years old, I was on a contract that was doing exactly this. They were stripping out all of the electrics for the milk yards, the dairies where they had all the milk vans, and they was electric, and they were serious tonnage, but they was very slow, right? So you didn't get the massive point pressure of speed, right? But all of those buildings, this is the part that was really hard, had granite floors that were like that thick, right? And they was all in giant slabs laid. They was massive, right? And then all the milk trucks would come in, milk floats would come in, they'd plug in all the day, the rest of the day, and the next morning they'd be ready to go out. So we had electric vehicles, right? But to accommodate for that, they had massive thick slabs of granite floors. And how do I know that? Because I was one of the silly bastards who had to fucking take the granite floors out, right? And I was paid to do it, right? Not realising later on it would fit a puzzle of why are they doing this?
The English Constitution is the solution, always has been and always will be.